Today we're going to build a 24 by 24 wire cage. This wire happens to be 1 by 2, where it's 1 inch wide, 2 inches long, and we're going to incorporate a built-in tray. So this cage will be freestanding with a pull-out tray. I've already made one. I'm going to make another one, and they are stackable. You can stack them up. You can go side by side. You can just take this whole cage, set it on the ground, and it's freestanding. And then with that, gives you for easy clean out. Pull out your tray. And we utilize this by putting in built-in legs and a frame support, a full back so you can't push the tray through, and it just has the easy slide gliders in here. I've made these, I've made a ton of these in the past. They work well. They're a hell of a lot better than what you can buy. And with that, we're going to build this today. The common sizes are a 24 by 24, a 30 by 24, and then a 36 by 30. And those are like the most popular tray sizes that are readily available, that you can get at your local farm and fleet stores. Let's see what else. This one, we're building these to house some mink, and mink being escape artists that they are, I put a double latch door in here, where they can't, they cannot open this door whatsoever. And it's a drop-down door. You can build them, the doors to swing out. You can have them flip up. You can have them swing down. I like it to swing down. That way, you can reach in there and do what you have to do. Also, I don't have it in stock, but I have them on order. I have edge guard that goes around the openings to cover any sharp points that might be on the cage. So if you're pulling your animal in and out, it doesn't get scarred up. And on this one, I used rings. There's 2 different fasteners. You have your J-clips. With J-clips, you have manual J-clips that are a real thin sheet metal that roll over. And then we have industrial J-clips that very, very hard to take apart. When cutting your wire, I build the whole outside of the cage system, and that gives it its frame to make it pretty stout. And then what you do is you add your back piece on, you add your front piece on, you add your floor in there, and that's how I build them, rather than building panel by panel by panel by panel. By being all separate, they kind of have a chance of being cattywampus, and they're not very rigid. Where if you build it as an outer frame piece, make all your bends, and that what holds the cage together and gives it its rigidity. And then dealing with wire cages, you have, they call it gauge, which is the thickness of the wire. I prefer to use a 14 gauge. This is all 14 gauge. most commonly you'll find like at your feed stores, it'll be like a 16 gauge, and 16 gauge is pretty soft and it's pretty narrow. It's not as rigid as a 14 gauge, but it works, or you can make it work. Usually the lower the number, the thicker the gauge. So you'd have like 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. Stick with your 14 and 16 gauges. For flooring size, in here I have 1/2 inch by 1 inch. Which for the Mink, it's kind of small. It doesn't allow the droppings to actually fall through. I do have some 1 inch by 1 inch that I might try for the new cage. But Mink also have a tendency to use a corner. They're pretty clean when it comes to their housekeeping, and they'll usually poop and pee in one corner. I also like to use urine guards, rabbit urine guards to put around there, so that way when the Mink backs up, and they spray, you don't get everything else covered in urine. It'll just stay within the pan, and I don't know, once a week you can just go through and push whatever through that you need to go through, and slide out your pan. And these pans are pretty tall too. I want to say this is like a 2.5, 3-inch pan. Yeah, these are 3-inch pans, which are pretty deep. And I really like these. They're lightweight. You can get poly trays, which are the plastic, or you can get steel trays. And I prefer the poly trays. They're a hell of a lot lighter, because after this fills up with debris, this gets pretty heavy. You pull that out, then you can scrape it out and do what you got to do. You get the metal ones. The metal ones probably weigh 2 to 3 times as much as a poly tray. And the tray will be the most expensive part of the cage build. So, in building this exact cage, the bottom tray rack is 4 inches by 4 inches, and then to add the height of this cage, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. The cage itself would be from the floor to the ceiling is 15 inches. It's 24 inches wide. It's 24 inches deep. It's 15 inches tall. So when you buy your wire, you can buy your wire in different heights. I stick with the 24-inch wire for the fact that when you're working with your animals, it's 24 inches deep. So when you reach in there, you can reach into the back. You get a cage that's 30 inches deep or 36 inches deep, you can't reach all the way to the back. And I mean, yes, they're nicer for the animals because it gives them more room, but as a care person, you're gonna be fighting yourself. So I tend to stick with 24-inch wide cages. So keep that in mind. Do you have an animal that comes to you and you can take them out, or do you have an animal that you have to chase? Choice is yours. I mean, I have the Mink in 30-inch boxes or cages now. One of them comes to me, the other one, I got to chase. And by being 24 deep, I can reach in there grab the animal and work with it. When working with the wire, like for this one, you want to get a 24-inch high roll. To build this cage, it's 70 inches. So you'd want to roll out 70 inches worth of wire. You want to use they're called flush cut pliers for cutting the wire, and it leaves off the sharp edges. If you want to make some cheap flush cut wires, you can take a pair of regular side cutters, ground down the back side. You'll see like a little V-notch in there. You can grind it down to where it's just completely flush. So when you cut your wire, it's completely flush. There's minimal sharp edges, and just makes it a lot more cleaner. I started building these cages, for myself. I've used them everything, for chickens, quail, rabbits, guinea pigs, raccoons, possum, skunk, and now I'm using them for mink. So I will get started and break out some wire. I will get it bent, get all the angles bent up, and then I'll check back in with you.